views expressed on this program are those of the hosts, guests, and callers, and are not necessarily those of this station, its management, or other advertisers. You're listening to Transformation Talk Radio.
Hi, welcome. This is Dr. John DeMartini. This is one of the most amazing and inspiring shows that you can listen into. If you want to be on the edge of your seats, if you want to open up your heart, if you want to expand your mind, and you want to meet incredible people, stay tuned because you're just about to experience a transformative radio show that will change your life. And you're listening to the Dr. Pat Show that's coming up right next.
Welcome to the Dr. Pat Show. Talk radio to thrive by. Powerful, inspiring, and coming to you live, bringing you stories of people like you and me, busting through and living life full out. Get ready to dare to wonder what your life would be like if you knew you could not fail.
Hey, everybody. Welcome. I want to welcome you to the Dr. Pat Show. This is Talk Radio to Thrive By. Thank you for tuning us in, turning us on. We have a special edition, as we love to do, fabulous co-host, Sheer Alchemy, today with my co-host, Leslie Fonteyne. Standing up to cultural and ancestral attachment. Boy, I know this is going to be a great, great show for us today. But before I do, I want to give a shout-out to Mr. Benny. Hello, Mr. B.
Howdy, Pat.
Did you see that little video I sent you where the guy brought back that little baby prairie dog?
I did. That was adorable.
I cried.
Aww.
I thought, there are people that do good things in the world. Yay!
Exactly, no matter how small the victim is.
Oh, my gosh. Boy, I'll tell you, that is the way you want to start your day. For those of you that don't know what we're talking about, go to the Dr. Pat Show website, and you're going to see if you scroll down, we have a little good news section where we provide you with good news from our good news people. Today's show is also good news. It's understanding what we come through, what our families represent to us. What happens when we look at, our cultural heritage or the limits it imposes. Thanks to, Leslie Fonteyne, Sheer Alchemy, thanks to this conversation she's bringing to the forefront, we're going to be able to move a whole lot of stuff today. So all of us do come from somewhere, even though some of us think we're from another planet. We come from a distinct region in our country. We belong to perhaps a narrow religious group. We live within the confines, restrictive customs, rules, and even prejudice. What happens when these attachments energetically affect the way we see our lives and the way that we show up in the world? How can we even know that is really operating? Well, that's what Leslie Fonteyne does. She will look at the soul and the essence of the soul, and the soul as it calls us to expand and grow beyond those boundaries. But here's what I love about what Leslie does. Here's what, we get to discover. Sometimes getting in touch with this and understanding it and moving this is difficult for us to do alone. I don't know about any of you out there, but if there's anyone out there that is like me, then sometimes it's very hard to see me, like it might be hard to see yourself. And so today we get to have this conversation. We're going to be opening up the phone lines, getting a lot of clearing going on as my co-host today, Transformation Catalyst, uses her intuition, energetic gifts to catapult people all over the world, because that's what she does. She travels and she shows up here with this show, bringing us Sheer Alchemy. So today, Beyond the Beyond, you're going to get to hear a conversation that's going to perhaps help you understand, the energy that comes with the lives that we live, because this is what she does. She reminds us of how powerful we are and how we are connected, all of us, to that higher self, that source energy, that high vibration, all of the above. And, Beyond the Beyond helps us discover and expand and grow. She helps people get that clarity of vision, that purpose, that direction, physical healings, removal of emotional and mental blocks. And, boy, that's what she has said yes to in her life. And so today we invite all of you to join us to take a journey down the road of family, culture, religion, whatever it is, whatever the limitations are in our lives, and get ready to say goodbye. Leslie, welcome to the show. It's great to have you here.
I am just thrilled. This is an awesome topic that I hope a lot of people hear and then can really allow themselves to cut loose from some things they've been challenged by Spirit to release.
So how does our experience in our families, our culture, our religion affect our perception of reality? And as well as, the energies that we either attract or don't attract or whatever that comes to mean in our lives.
I like to start with a sort of funny story, which is that I grew up in Thailand, and I was born to Southern American parents. And I did not understand that I was born to those parents until 30 years later when I was exposed to the Southern American culture. We don't understand the rules that we've been raised with, the mores, the cultural customs, even religious or non-religious approaches to the way we look at the world, or scientific versions. So people have all kinds of things that they grow up into believing, accepting, choosing, and then deciding what they must do. In the United States, we're very fortunate in a lot of areas of our culture that we can choose freely who our partners are, the kind of work we do, with not a lot of limitation except for, the obvious ones of education and finance and all that kind of stuff. There are a lot of cultures in this world that have very strict boundaries, that have very strong codes. And so when people are stepping into the abundance of their essence, it transcends all of those cultural boundaries that we experience, here on Earth in our families. We know about children that grow up in dual cultures. They perhaps come from a Vietnamese background or an Indian background or a German background, and then they are in school in an American culture, and they go home and they go back and forth between these dual cultures and dual roles. So add Spirit to that, and it's quite the mix.
One of the things that we think about in our lives or don't think about is how we are affected by the different ways we grow up, the people that were around when we're growing up, the cultures, the spiritual, the religious, and how they help shape our reality. Honestly, we don't stop and think about that, Leslie, really much at all, but we do refer to it, right? We do refer to it. I've referred to growing up and being raised by my uncles, right? And, my 5th birthday, I got a pair of boxing gloves. But I don't really talk about, or perhaps I'm not aware of, what that energy is about for my life. But most importantly, this is something I would love for you to talk about, the limitations that are associated with this.
Absolutely. If you think about some of the codes that we have, even if you think about the codes when you go to a work culture, and we use that word, right? This work culture is like this. That work culture was the opposite. We have rules and guidelines that structure how we're to behave, how we interact, whether it's okay to have a dynamic conversation or we need to be deferential and there's no conversation. So we haven't looked at the fact that when we are raised in these rules, we are really talking about separation, deprivation, loss, and the threat of loss. So the idea is that if we fully live in our essence and we fully step into all that we are, that we may suffer the consequences. What are the consequences? The consequences are always loss of funding and loss of love.
Leslie, one of the things that, I don't know about you, but I know that I've experienced in my life is coming to understand more and more about some of the the cultures I think that you just referred to. I work for a company, and when I began working for this company, we were very proud that all of us said, were told we had bell-shaped heads, right? I mean, that was so clear. I mean, it was like, yeah, I got a bell-shaped head. And then all of a sudden we weren't proud of that. And our identity was, the very bedrock of our identities were shaken in a lot of ways. What happens when our cultural identities are shaken?
Well, it's very disconcerting, and it destabilizes us. So compare this spiritually when I'm doing a shift or helping someone clear out old contracts and agreements. And when we go into a job, for example, we are saying, yes, I will live according to your rules. I will behave according to your rules. I will be successful within your rules. And if I do that, you will approve of me. You will provide me a salary, and everything will be great. That ultimately means we subsume who we are by nature, and we are agreeing to this contract. When we remove some of these contracts and agreements that keep us operating below our own truth, below our joy, below our essence, we come into almost an empty place. We don't know what the rules are. And then we find out that our rules have become our comfort zones. We understand them. We know how to act. And when we remove those rules and it's not so rigid anymore, we suddenly have to experience what guidance is telling us, what our own logic is telling us, what we really are passionate about and want to step into. And it can be a little scary. So then we get alarmed that we're afraid. And we shouldn't be afraid when we're doing a spiritual path. Well, if it takes courage, that means some fear is involved.
We're going to take a short break. For those of you tuning in, it's a powerful show. And it's so powerful that we're going to make sure you have an opportunity to call into the show. Leslie is going to take the calls because part of what we're exploring, and she's taking us on a journey, we're exploring the idea of what it means to step into choice and to step into our power. Our loyalties, the guilt, the things that, come along with us that keep us from expanding. How do we move beyond them? Well, if you have got any of that going on, we are going to open these phone lines up for you to get the energy moving, get the clearing happen, and let the healing begin. Leslie Fonteyne joining me here today. If you want to get in the queue, 1-800-930-2819. Let's move some energy. Thanks to my co-host today. Let's take a short break, everyone. When we come back, we'll be talking about what is the risk, that risk of stepping into choice, into our power. We'll be right back. But cheer. I love this show. This is so good. Cheer Alchemy. Leslie Fonteyne, standing up to cultural and ancestral attachments. We'll be right back.
Holistic Medical Center is where you find it all. A healthy space with doctors who care, see, and listen to the whole you. Hi, this is Dr. Darvish. If you have not found an answer to your chronic symptoms, you will find answers here at Holistic Medical Center. Our doctors find the root cause of your symptoms and guide your body towards healing naturally. We transform lives from within. Visit drdarvish.com or call 425-451-0404.
Get inspired. Create the life you desire with internationally known radio host and motivational speaker, Sue London. Sue inspires millions of people to overcome difficult or traumatic situations in their lives. People feel hope, courage, and are ready to move forward after hearing Sue speak. Book motivational speaker Sue London for your next event at AskSueLondon.com. That's AskSueLondon.com.
Psychic World, Wednesday, 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Eastern, with John G. Sutton, featuring his special guest, Countess Strella, one of Britain's most respected psychic mediums. John is an internationally published author, poet, and professional clairvoyant. His best-selling books include Psychic Pets, featured with John on the Walt Disney Channel, Animal Planet. Currently, John is the feature editor of the monthly Psychic World, which is the UK's Journal of Spiritualism. He has over 30 years of experience working in the field field of paranormal studies. Countess Torella has an incredible ability to visualize your future in a positive, passionate way. This show offers all listeners the chance to call in and speak directly to John or the amazing Countess Torella. You can ask your personal questions about love, career, money, relationships, or whatever is troubling you in this often difficult life. What dreams may come? Join John G. Sutton and Countess Torella to discover your answer. See www.psychicworld.net.
If you're one of the millions of Americans suffering from anxiety, you probably know how powerless and out of control this emotion can make you feel. This is why it is so important to remember that anxiety is created by your mind, which means that you can learn to use your mind to uncreate it. Hello, my name is Dr. Friedman Schaub. My award-winning book, The Fear and Anxiety Solution, provides you with a step-by-step breakthrough process to understand and resolve the root causes of your anxiety and build a solid foundation of confidence and inner peace. If you're ready to take your power back, visit thefearandanxietysolution.com. That's thefearandanxietysolution.com, or call 866-903-6463. That's 866-903-MIND.
Every time I bleed, the truth is a stranger, soul is in danger. I gotta let my spirit be free to admit that I'm wrong and then change my mind.
Hey, everybody, welcome back. Welcome back to the show. Hey, for more information about Leslie, go to lesliefonteyne.com, and I'll spell the last name, Fonteyne.com, lesliefonteyne.com. Lots of information. If you go to her site, she's going to be in Tampa. She's going to be in Austin. She's going to be in Chicago. She's going to be in Raleigh. And you're going to be able to see her and work with her directly at those places, or work with her directly by contacting her, and we'll let you know how to do that. You know, today's show, for those of you that are tuning in, you know, this, Leslie, you and I were talking during the break, and, you know, one of the things I said, and I think this is really a great place to kick it off about choice and power and loyalties. You know, sometimes the familiar veil, the cultural veil, is so thick, and we so identify with it that we can't even see the veil. So what is that risk, that thing that says, I'm going to step into choice and power? You know, we talk about it like it's like a no-brainer, but it really, in my life, I've had to make a conscious decision of this.
Right. Well, it isn't a no-brainer. You know, that line that says, you will be contacted. So some of us have been contacted. We're the chosen ones within our family, within our tribe, within our group. And we get the message. And many of us have grown up, particularly listeners to your shows, where we've been strange, different, the odd one in the family, the one that just saw life differently, the one that wanted to make different choices, didn't understand why these rules didn't work for us. And we were almost ostracized, shamed. And there's so much of that in our culture and in our tribes, which is if you don't act and think like us, you are going to be ostracized. And that's a form of psychological abuse. It's very common, however, to exclude those that are unlike us within our tribe. So when you get contacted, you've got a pretty serious choice, which is, do I want to step into my truth? Sometimes when we're not in that tribe, we dish out advice almost in a cavalier fashion and go, hey, just step into all that you are. Well, we're not that woman in Saudi Arabia that we're saying, hey, throw off that veil and start driving a car. We're in a totally different place. So we have to appreciate what that person is going to do to begin to shed that veil, to begin to step into all that they are. And it may be negligible to us, but to that person, they're moving mountains.
Wow. You know, part of what we look at is the idea of the mountains that we cannot see, right? I mean, you know, let's talk about this from the point of view of energy and what happens with us when these guilt, these coercions, these manipulation, you know, that happen within our cultural realm. And, can we expand this for a little bit about culture? Because, what I was really struck by in looking at what we're talking about today is how we have not just cultures, right, Leslie, but we have subcultures. Even in the pod, the group of friends we hang out with, right, there are group norms.
Yes.
And we can't even smell when that group norm is holding us back from the abundance of the universe. Isn't that also part of this energetic restriction?
Oh, without question. Without question. And kids in school are witnessing it and experiencing it, once they get into high school, if not before. So you are absolutely right about that. In terms of, not seeing it, we're sort of talking to people that are aware on some level that they're living with restriction, but they're not fully aware about why they choose not to step into all that they are. When you begin to pursue that in terms of relationships, how one raises children, how one goes to work, what kind of work one is allowed to have, and what kind of work someone is not allowed to have. When you begin to challenge those boundaries, all of a sudden all this resistance comes up, and I'm feeling it very much, with some of our listeners right now. It comes up in the heart space, and it comes up in their solar plexus, which is, oh, no, I can't go there. I can't challenge that. I'm not strong enough. I'm not able to step into these things if you're going to go that far. So I think we need to appreciate the energy, what happens as we shift. So I've had many clients who I've told them, don't do anything, just shift your energy, begin to step into it intentionally, and all hell breaks out around them. I mean, just, the arguments start, the challenges begin, and they're almost unprepared because that energy shift is so powerful.
Wow. Part of this today, and we're opening up the phone line, so let's talk about that for a minute. We're opening up the phone lines for, folks out there. If you want to call in and move some of this energy, do you feel trapped by a culture or subculture? Maybe it's family, maybe it's work, maybe it's friendships, maybe it's a community that you're part of. Maybe it's, something that's going on legally with you. Do you feel trapped? Do you feel crowded? Do you feel like you're suffocating? And these are the signs, I think, Leslie, maybe I'm talking for myself, but when I start to feel like that, where my chest gets tight, it's hard to find the breath to take sometimes, I have to stop and ask myself, what's happening here? And so for those of you out there that are holding your breath, boy, that's not the way we were meant to live. Give us a shout, 1-800-930-2819. We have opened up the phone lines for you, 1-800-930-2819. We're going to move some energy. Leslie, tell folks a little bit about what's going to happen when they call in, how you're going to be able to work with them here, what they should be ready to ask.
Wow. Each person is bringing what they have served up, ready to deal, and it'll be exciting to see what happens. But if you're noticing already a tightness and an anxiety and a fear, and your spirit's been telling you to step out on something, we're going to see how ready you are. But I want you to understand that the support of the universe is there for you, and the guidance of how to go about stepping into your new freedom is going to be available. So don't be terrified that you're going to be kicked to the curb once we do a release. But we're going to do it.
Right. And so for those of you out there, we'd love for you to give us a shout, 1-800-930-2819. We will do our very, very, very best to make sure we get to all of you today. We have done this early today so that you all can call in. And when we come back from break, we'll go right to the phones. I wanted to just chat for a minute, if we could, about this idea of energy and what happens when we do take these actions, and then all of a sudden we really seem like the oddball, right? The minute that, I made a decision with my own family, it was really clear I was no longer going to be accepted in that family. Is this part of our soul's path to make those tough choices? Maybe it's a friend, Leslie, that no longer we can be next to or be part of or have in our lives. What do we do with that?
Well, you have hit it dead on, but when we are stepping into all that we are, we stir up quite the disturbance around us. But this is a big part of our soul path and our soul lessons, to step into our strengths, to step into our power, to step into our integrity and alignment with ourselves. So sometimes opposition shows up so that we can pull that part of us up even higher. It's not just to cause us to kowtow and to be submissive again. It's for us to recognize that the love or the experiences or the friends we have around us are very conditional, and they are based on following certain rules and codes. And are we interested in perpetuating that? We've had great friends until now, but do some of those friendships need to come into completion because you're going in a new direction that transcends where you are?
Wow. Let's take a short break. Leslie is joining us here today, Leslie Fonteyne. Also, Leslie, tell folks the best way that they can contact you for their own sessions. I mean, you work with people all over the world, help folks get to the bottom of what's going on in their lives and open the doors for abundance. What's the best way for folks to get in contact with you?
The absolute best way is to go to my website, www.lesliefonteyne.com, LESLIEFONTEYNE. You can also send me an email to leslie@lesliefonteyne.com. If you're in the United States, it's 678-665-3366 or 011 in front of that if you're calling from overseas. I do my overseas sessions by Skype, and that makes it very nice and free. So don't worry about that, and I'll work with your time zone.
Awesome. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to go right to the phone. So those of you calling in, we will get right to you. Stay tuned. We'll be right back with the show.
Accelerate your intuitive abilities with Lynn Brown on July 26, 2:30 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. at Maya Whole Health Studio. Awaken yourself as a spiritual being with natural spiritual gifts and become more grounded, clear, focused, and healthy by learning the 5 essential energy tools that everyone should have. Call 425-271-0200 to register for the Intuitive Tools for Beginners Workshop, and let's get into it now. Visit ruintuit.com for more information.
Chris Stanis is a spiritual leader and healer and teaches a course on how you can transform your life through a meditation and healing system that will manifest your spirit's dreams. She manifested the Women of Wisdom Conference, the Women of Wisdom book, and this radio show. And she can show you how to change your life too.
Join Women of Wisdom and Mankind Project June 28th, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. for the men and women of the new paradigm, Unearthing the Shadow with Kate Montana and William Keepin, with Cynthia Bricks of Gender Reconciliation in Redmond. A day to share with each other what it means to be women and men, fully embracing who we are, respecting the differences, and sharing our common humanity. Register now. Call 206-782-3363 or visit womenofwisdom.org.
Tune in to The Truth is Funny with Colette Steffen each Wednesday at 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern on TransformationTalkRadio.com. This hit show will have you thinking outside the box and riding the wave of infinite potential. Join Colette on the Higher Self Network, inspiring listeners to shine their brilliance and ensure success while roaring with laughter as they recognize the humor of the giant cosmic joke. Visit thetruthисfunny.com.
Where do you desire to go in life? How do you plan to get there? Are you only looking outside yourself for the answers? What if you use your soul's wisdom to lead the way? So what is the soul and how do you access its wisdom? Soul Suitcase with Victoria Cohen will unpack these questions and help you tap into and trust your own inner voice to solve everyday problems. Your Soul Suitcase is a treasure chest of wisdom inside you waiting to be discovered. Listen to Soul Suitcase on TransformationTalkRadio.com and discover how awakening to your inner voice transforms your life.
Feel Feel happiness is just beyond your grasp? Want to move past old hurts or traumas? Not feeling comfortable in your body? Consider an intuitive healing session with Christy Borst. Christy has a divine healing gift, and her process will help you experience a perspective reboot. Release that which no longer serves you. For more information and to contact Christy Borst, visit healingresonance.us. That's healingresonance.us.
Get sophisticated with David and Philip Zarza. David and Philip touch on topics such as human potential, spirituality, pop culture, and purposeful living. Experience an insightful reading from David on what the universe has in store for you, or reconnect with a departed loved one. Philip can look into an issue or anything else you may be dealing with. Go to getsophisticated.com. That's SOPHISTIGAYTED.com or call 206-420-8660.
Looking over the skyline of the city. How loud, quiet nights in the midst of crime.
Hey, everybody, welcome back. Welcome back. Sheer Alchemy. Leslie Fonteyne, my co-host today right here. I'm Dr. Pat. We've got Leslie here. We have opened up the phone lines. And Mr. Benny, let's go right to him if we could.
Let's do that. Let's take Eric calling in from Seattle. Eric, welcome to the show.
Hi. Hello.
Hi there, Eric.
Hi, Leslie. I have a question regarding my health. I've had some long-term chronic health issues for about over 30 years now, so for most of my life, and chronic fatigue and such. And I've done a lot of alternative energy type work with different healers, but nothing seems to really shift. So I was wondering if you could help me identify some of the blocks to healing, or
So,
if you have any insight into what's...
you to go back very young right now. So what got in the way of you stepping into some dreams and passions you had? There were some things pretty young. I just get a lot of silencing energies, a lot of shutdown in your heart, and then so a lot of energy turned inward for you. What happened for you?
Yeah, so when you say pretty young, you mean early childhood, or?
Yeah, and could be a little later, and when you were really wanting to step into something.
I would say it's mostly kind of growing up in a hostile environment, to put it in a nutshell.
Right. And so, I mean, a lot of what I'm getting is I'm just getting a lot in the neck and the shoulders for you, and just typically that's a coercive kind of energy, and also people just hanging out in your field that really don't belong there anymore. So, you know, right now we can just do a little bit. We want to let go of some of those old agreements, but I want you to know that you have to say you're releasing them. You want to choose to release these old energies right now, letting them go. There's some love and loyalty, which we learned very young, and so it makes it hard, right, a lot of what we've been talking about. So just starting to let it go a little bit. But what's going to happen for you is your heart space is opening up right now, and so is your solar plexus a bit. And there's some fear that if you step into all that you are, that you won't be safe. And this is a very young lesson. So we just want to open that up right now. And I want you to connect and not be too afraid. Your throat has a lot of cords and contracts, sort of about silencing yourself a bit. Just to make things survivable, right? So we want to release a lot of the things that are coming up for you. So much is very unspoken for you. And I want you to write some of this out that comes to you after this call, and I'm glad to work with you again on this because there's a lot to clear out for you. But it's very much based on your security. So if you fully stand in your power and all that you are, there's going to be some fear that's coming up right now for you in your second. So you've had some intuitive guidance, some things that you felt guided to do, to step into. There's another part of you goes, well, how am I going to do that? How am I going to step into that? I feel like crap all the time. I don't feel well. You know, it's not going to last. So there's just some beliefs and some, thoughts that we want to clear out as well. But just lots of trauma in your field. So we just want to let that go. But you really are all that, Eric. You really are. And you can do this.
Okay.
But it's going to begin.
Did you say there's a lot of trauma in my field? It's a little hard to hear you. So.
okay, I'm sorry about that. If you could begin to shift and begin to turn just your intentions right now toward, stepping into who you are. I want you to experience some of the thoughts and the ideas that are coming up to you. There's a little tightness in your chest space. So I want you to go, what is that? What is it that's surfacing? What is it that's tight? What is it that I'm afraid of? But we're not even, stepping out the door yet, right? We're just shifting right now.
Right.
So there's some things that are continuing to come up for you. And this is going to be throughout the day. I would love it if you write me about what's coming up, because what we're doing is we're uncovering the contracts and we're uncovering some core fears. I'm just getting some, definitely the parental energy is coming in very strong. So we want to let those go.
Okay. And so you work remotely with people?
We started some of the work right now, but this is big stuff. This is big stuff for you.
All right. Yeah, I understand.
Small.
So you work remotely with your clients?
I do. Absolutely. Okay. So I would be glad to work with you. And feel free to write me, but today, if you could, I want you to begin to shift your energy towards some of the desires and dreams you've had, even if you have to work a bit to remember what the heck they were. Okay, I want you to stir those up, and I want you to notice the tightness and just go, what's that about? What's the fear? Just list it out. Don't be afraid. This is your archaeological dig.
Okay. And I on your website, I saw that you had 4 CDs. Which might be a good CD to start
I would do the Power Pack for sure.
The Power Pack, okay.
Right. So one is the teaching and one is the clearing, and the clearing is what's really going to help you as you let go.
I see. Right. Okay. So 2 CD ones.
But the teaching is what stirs up the block.
Okay.
Awesome.
Okay.
All right. Thank you very much.
I'm so glad you called.
Thanks, Eric. Boy, this is great.
Right.
You saying yes to this part of your journey is epic. It's great, Eric. Thank you so much for calling in. Wow. I love this. Leslie, this is amazing, isn't it? I just, it's so interesting, right, for us because, first of all, congratulations for Eric to call in. I mean, that's just an enormous act to take that first step. So many of us have gone through our lives and really agonized over taking a first step to anything. And so I think it's so important to acknowledge what he just did right there and how open he is. And I mean, he has really cast himself in the direction for unlimited abundance, hasn't he?
Oh, absolutely. And, it's a little terrifying to go into some things that we've lived with chronically for 30 years. This is a very bold thing to do. So I like for people to not be too afraid about what comes up as if it's always going to stay there, but we name it. We identify it. We notice it. And it may be sad, but we're going to clear it and we're going to shift it.
And, for those of you out there, we have time perhaps for one more caller. If you are out there and you want to move some things around, give us a shout, 1-800-930-2819, 1-800-930-2819. Leslie, during the break, you and I were talking about shunning, and I think we should chat about this for a little bit because, there's this conversation that's happening in the world now. I think we talked about Amish shunning, but then you also talked about the fact that it's beyond that. Let's talk a little bit about what it is and how it shows up in our day-to-day lives.
Well, ultimately, when we create groups and tribes, it's not just some demographic or some concept of I'm from here and you're from there. A lot of times it's about creating a protective covering around a group of people, as if everyone else out there might be an enemy. And it also is held together by a set of beliefs, and then there's almost a type of pride in the distinction of the beliefs and the customs and the codes. So anything outside of that core becomes a threat. And if you don't believe this anymore and you don't adhere to that anymore, then you are threatening the tribe, and we can't allow that. We can't allow you to be a part of us. We can see how much of this is based in fear, but we haven't really called it out. We've almost said, well, God will punish me. The culture will punish me. I'll be fired. I'll lose my job. I'll lose my family. I'll lose my children. It's all this horrific set of consequences that occurs. So the shunning is this horrible psychological coercive type of experience placed on someone that even has this idea that they might step outside that group, whether it's a high school kid in school or it's something, real like we're seeing throughout the world now between distinctive groups.
I mean, it's really for all of us, it's an amazing journey. We have someone calling in. Let's go to the phones. Mr. Benny, who do we have?
We'll take Leslie calling in from Kirkland.
Hi, Leslie. Welcome. Leslie, meet Leslie.
Oh, hi.
Hey there.
Thanks for taking my call.
You bet.
Well, as far as stepping out of the group, I'm a nurse, and I find that I'm wanting to teach my patients the mind-body connection and alternative medicine, and I'm trying to figure out how to transition from, what's widely accepted as Western medicine and kind of get away from giving my patients pills, and how do I break into the alternative side of things? And I just feel so unfulfilled just passing out medication.
Right. Well, one thing that's coming in really strongly for you is that one thing you want to really recognize is the energy that you carry in that hospital. You have a privilege. Yeah. You have the honor of going where many people cannot go.
Right.
And so you have healing touch that comes through you. And anytime you touch a patient or you are consoling a family or you are walking through, even though, some of the things you're having to do due to the role you have, you don't agree with, I want you to know they're really coming through strongly for you, that you really deliver a healing energy. So treat that with respect within yourself, really honor it. So when you go into a room, it's not an accident. When you have a set of patients assigned to you, it's not a mistake.
Right.
So really be aware of that. Now, when you are shifting into the alternative, so that's one aspect of the alternative, all right? Some of us don't appreciate the privilege we've been given to touch certain people. Mm-hmm. So the other part of you is that you're growing in your understanding of the alternative types of modalities that you can use and the other ways that people can look at healing. So that could be rising up at the same time while you're doing this other. But it's really important for you to step into your energy, to step into the guidance that you're getting. You've gotten a lot of guidance. There's a little fear for you about some things. All the what-ifs are coming up. So I want you to let those go because that's how we short-circuit ourselves. We go, well, how am I going to do that? Where's the money going to come from? How's this going to happen? Don't do that. Just really take in the stream of guidance that's coming for you right now. Your heart is a little afraid about what you might lose. So don't go there yet. Just really stay open. It may be you do night classes. It may be that you begin to, have some internships here and there. And then that thing begins to grow and to spawn. But there's something so beautiful about your energy right now that you're carrying, and you really want to develop that just healing's just coming straight through your arms down into your hands.
Oh, wow. Well, that's a very good reminder. My patients have definitely given me some very positive feedback, which always helps me to keep going.
Right.
So yeah, I really.
Well, now you're shifting and allowing Source to come through you, and that's what will keep you going. So it almost changes the energy if you can see that around whether it's the nursing station and other nurses whose energies are very low, perhaps. And you're raising up the vibration. You've got to protect your field. There's all kinds of stuff walking those halls that you can't see. So you really need to learn to take care of yourself. And I can definitely, if you get a couple of my CDs, it talks about how to protect your field. It's important for you. But you are going to have exponential opportunities show up for you.
Oh, wonderful. That's so great. Thank you. I just started learning how to protect my energy, even just simply in my home. Around family members.
And a hospital is a big space. A hospital has a lot of stuff walking in the door. We don't let someone track dirt into our home on their shoes, but we'll let them bring in whatever they had out there right in.
Yeah.
So even your patients, you can see that they'll be doing fine one set of, on 1 hour, and the next hour they're doing like crap. Well, who was in there? What were they carrying?
Yes. Good. Well, I think I need your CD. So, thank you. I appreciate you taking my call.
Absolutely. Yep.
Thanks, Leslie. I think that this is really, I think what we'll do is we'll skip this break, Leslie, because this is really a really important conversation from the folks that are calling in. And if there's someone else out there and you want to get on air and get some help around this, then we will have time if you get in here quickly, 1-800-930-2819. Let's talk about source and how source enters into the picture. And what the fears are that we have around this, Leslie, if we could.
All right. Well, a lot of it is very young learning and education, whether from religious teachings or just source not being real, source not being an energy that we've learned to cultivate in our lives. But much of our teaching is based on deprivation. Much of it is based on minimizing any of the senses that we have about how spirit is moving and shifting through our lives, and then we almost completely discount how guidance comes in for us. So we quit listening. Then we quit speaking. We quit talking about the things that we enjoy, that we love, because that's not popular in whatever circles that we're in, or we feel like we can't speak freely. So when Source comes in and starts removing contracts and agreements and starts showing us that he's 100% abundant, he, she, whatever, or 100% healthy, it counteracts and disagrees with so much that's in our field. So we spend, a lot of time clearing this stuff out, and we step into something new, and then we have another experience. So it's a beautiful thing to begin to look at where we've been betrayed and where we've learned to not trust. When we step into abundance and we step into our own power and we step into Source, what we're saying is that we can trust Source and we can trust ourselves. Very big deal. Very big deal.
It really is a big deal. I wanted to talk with you a little bit, if we could. The cousin. Trust has a cousin. I think it's called faith, and I don't mean faith in a religious, from a religious point of view, but I would love for you to talk about faith as an energy and what that comes to mean when we're dealing with cultural issues, when we're dealing with spiritual issues, when we're dealing with source energy.
Well, what's coming to talk about for me that might be for some of the listeners right now is to really monitor what's coming out of your mouth. So there's a lot of negativity and a lot of downing language that is coming through many of us, whether from fear, anxiety, worry, what we hear on the news, etc. When you begin to shift that language and you begin to look into possibility and you begin to step out in faith, and faith is really based on guidance that you get. It's not just this blind thing. Okay, you get guidance, you've opened up that channel, and you're choosing to step into all that you are, and you're exploring yourself, and you just start to discover all kinds of fabulous things about yourself that you never knew. So you start to step into these things, and then you encounter this fear, like, for example, in the solar plexus. Oh, my gosh, I'm not sure that I can step into my power. Then we go, well, am I alone? So now we bring in Source to channel through us, and the light beings and the ministering spirits, all those that are working with us. And if we feel we're really guided to this, to bring them in to participate. They help us to shift the energy and to move into a much higher vibration. And we start to see with anticipation and excitement the possibilities that lay out ahead. The ideas begin to spring up instead of constricting and pushing them down and forcing them with how is that going to happen. We get excited and going, why not? Let's step into it. What next? What's coming to me? How will that happen? Thoughts and ideas begin to spring up.
One of the things that hangs on to a lot of people, and I know that this is something that is worth mentioning, is the idea of feeling betrayed or promises that get broken. And they're kind of related to each other in a lot of ways. And there's a whole level, whole series of emotions that come with it. We don't really talk about betrayal very much because, and Leslie, I think you know this, right? In this arena, this self-help arena, someone along the way said, you know what, change your thinking, change your life. And I do believe that's true. But I don't think anybody is saying, don't change your feelings, change your life. Maybe we are, but where do we draw the line between what we feel and what we think? Are these blurred lines, or can we get some clarity around them?
Well, I tell people often that when you're, spiritual or having a spiritual experience, it doesn't mean that you suddenly become stupid. We have all parts of us. We have all these dimensions of ourselves, all these gifts that we have, our eyesight, our senses, our smell, the ability to move or, to touch. So many gifts and intelligence and all that are all a part of it. You're going to use every part of you, but when you raise the vibration and you step into this other aspect of you, here's what's coming to me very strongly for the audience today, is to recognize the fear of taking responsibility for your choices. That part of us that feels betrayed and distrusted is a very young part of us. It's the part that had no power. It's the part that didn't want to, get hurt anymore. So when you are choosing to step into all that you are owning your path. Well, that's a little scary when you haven't really done a lot of that. You're not going to just toe the line because someone else said so. You're now going to choose to step into all that you are. You own it. That's how you begin to break some of the distrust and all that, because really, ultimately, it's about ourselves.
I love it. Let's go to the phones. We have one final caller, I believe, calling in, Mr. Benny.
Yep, we'll take Gary calling in from Seattle. Gary, welcome to the show.
Yeah, hi, Gary.
Hi.
How can we help you today?
Thank you. I'm looking at the whole side of me and the broken side of me, and the merging or the interacting with life to make the most of what is left, and have an impact. Go ahead.
So you're looking at yourself, you're saying, right? I just want to make sure I can hear you well. You're looking at yourself, and you referred to one side of yourself as the broken side?
Yeah, there's a broken side that has got to still make change.
Okay.
I'm just still seeing too much of that. I'm thinking that it should be letting go once it's recognized.
Yeah, okay. Okay.
It's a little too deep-seated.
Yeah. Let's see what Leslie sees, Gary. Thank you for calling in.
So,
what did you say?
I had sort of a hard time. Yeah, I had sort of a hard time hearing. So here, I'm just going to go with what is coming for me for you.
Yeah.
Gary, you can let go of the idea that you're done, and that there's not much more time, and there's not much more of you left. So let's let go of the part that feels crushed and broken, because that's not your spirit. That's just a lot of energies that have taken up some space in your field. This is some work that I'd be glad to do with you, but it's a very heavy energy. It's really got you very stuck, and it's great that you could call and choose to want to do something, but it's more than we'll be able to do on this call. But your spirit is not broken.
Awesome. Wow, what a powerful show. And, Gary, please get a hold of Leslie. And, part of what you can do is work with her and really get some fuller help than we can do in a couple of minutes. Leslie, again, tell people how they can find out about you, how they can create a session with you.
Absolutely. Just go to my website, lesliefonteyne.com, LESLIEFONTEYNE, and it's listed on Dr. Pat's website as well. And you can call me 678-665-3366. I do sessions by Skype, by phone, wherever you are. And, some things we can do pretty quickly. And obviously, Gary's got some things that we really want to give some good attention to.
Absolutely. And what a great show. What a great show. Here's my last question for you. We talked about a lot today. All right. What is your personal message? What would you like to leave us with?
When we begin to step into all that we are, we think about the things that we might lose. We think about partners and jobs and belongings, all those places that create that sense of I am a part of. I want you to look at this as a challenge that you are going to learn about yourself, and you're going to embrace yourself, your higher self, all that you are. You're going to have a tremendous support. So if there is a period of emptiness when you step into something new, don't think that that means you have been completely abandoned. It means that you're stepping into something new. You don't even know the rules yet. And you're going to draw in new energies of support, and you're going to draw in new opportunities. But this is a time to embrace yourself, because up until this point, you've been looking at how externals appreciate you. Now you're going to appreciate from within, pushing out.
Awesome. Leslie, this is amazing. Thank you so much for today's show. Very, very, very powerful show. If you all missed any part of this, it's going to replay later on tonight, and we're going to have the archive edited shortly. Lots more to come from Leslie Fonteyne. For more about us, go to thedrpatshow.com, go to transformationtalkradio.com. You can find all of our hosts, all of our co-hosts, all of what they're up to, and we've got lots planned for all of you. We'll see you next time.
Lights go out and I can't be saved. Tides that I tried to swim against pulled me down upon my knees. Oh, I beg and please, singing, come out of things unsaid. Shoot an apple off my head and a trouble that can be.
Holistic Medical Center is where you find it all. A healthy space with doctors who care, see, and listen to the whole you. Hi, this is Dr. Darvish. If you have not found an answer to your chronic symptoms, you will find answers here at Holistic Medical Center. Our doctors find the root cause of your symptoms and guide your body towards healing naturally. We transform lives from within. Visit drdarvish.com or call 425-451-0404.
Get inspired. Create the life you desire with internationally known radio host and motivational speaker, Sue London. Sue inspires millions of people to overcome difficult or traumatic situations in their lives. People feel hope, courage, and are ready to move forward after hearing Sue speak. Book motivational speaker Sue London for your next event at AskSueLondon.com. That's AskSueLondon.com.
Psychic World, Wednesday, 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Eastern, with John G. Sutton, featuring his special guest, Countess Strella, one of Britain's most respected psychic mediums. John is an internationally published author, poet, and professional clairvoyant. His best-selling books include Psychic Pets, featured with John on the Walt Disney Channel, Animal Planet. Currently, John is the feature editor of the monthly Psychic World, which is the UK's Journal of Spiritualism. He has over 30 years of experience working in the field of paranormal studies. Countess Strella has an incredible ability to visualize your future in a positive, passionate way. This show offers all listeners the chance to call in and speak directly to John or the amazing Countess Strella. You can ask your personal questions about love, career, money, relationships, or whatever is troubling you in this often difficult life. What dreams may come? Join John G. Sutton and Countess Strella to discover your answer. See www.psychicworld.net.
If you're one of the millions of Americans suffering from anxiety, you probably know how powerless and out of control this emotion can make you feel. This is why it is so important to remember that anxiety is created by your mind, which means that you can learn to use your mind to uncreate it. Hello, my name is Dr. Friedman Schaub. My award-winning book, The Fear and Anxiety Solution, provides you with a step-by-step breakthrough process to understand and resolve the root causes of your anxiety and build a solid foundation of confidence and inner peace. If you're ready to take your power back, visit thefearandanxietysolution.com. That's thefearandanxietysolution.com, or call 866-903-6463. That's 866-903-MIND.